The law of pain, not an easy topic. And I guess what a lot of us wished is that bad experiences weren't a part of life, right? I think we wish for utopia. I think we wish we never have to go through any kind of pain, whether it be physical or be, emotional. But these experiences are part of life. It's reality, and trying to escape them will do you no good. So let's talk about, hopefully, in a personal growth standpoint, how through these bad experiences we can lead to some good growth, great growth. In this case, I would say great growth, but good growth is important because there's stair steps, right? And there's this quote I wanted to read right off the book. John McDonnell says that every problem introduces a person to himself. So today we're going to talk about bad experiences, and maybe you live in one of these couple of categories. And by the way, before I go into those four things, go buy this book. Do it online. Go get the audio. Go get the Kindle version. If you like print, go buy a printed book so you can write in, or go buy a journal with it. Put this in your top stack. You can never go wrong. This chapter is long, and I only pull the highlights, so I just recommend you go buy the book and then read this whole chapter on the law of pain. I'll touch off on some of it. Anyhow, so here's some things that you might catch yourself. How do I react to bad experiences? Huge anger. Done that. Go through something really bad or bad experience, and you catch yourself being pretty freaking angry about it, in some cases years down the road. So that's one way. Another thing we do is we shrink into ourselves. We basically cave in on ourselves, which you know what that feels like. It's when nothing feels right. Everything's just going upside down inside you, and you just shrink in on yourself. The other one is we detach from the experience. Repress is probably a good word, away from that experience. And the last thing we do is ignore it, because our defense mechanism basically tells us if we ignore something long enough, it'll go away. And then we find out that something happens and a little trigger goes up, and we realize, well, that didn't happen. Let's talk about these bad experiences as individuals. Everyone has them, but everybody on this earth has ups and downs. The problem is, in life, we always want everything to be uppity, uppity, up, right? We never want the downside. Nobody likes the pain or the bad experiences, meaning that nobody likes to go through it. Nobody wants to be in it when we're part of it. And very few people, and I want you to highlight this in your mind or write it on a piece of paper. Very few people make bad experiences into positive experiences. Go back to what I said on page 1, right? Anger. We shrink into ourselves. Repression, depression. We detach from the experience and we ignore it. So very few people make bad experiences into positive experiences. All right. Still reading my notes. I'm highlighting. All right. So let's talk about the pain file. Here's some things that may cause, here's some bad experiences, some things we go through, all of us. And I kind of highlighted some categories, so bear with me. The first one is the pain of inexperience. When we're doing something new or we're learning something, there's a lot of pain. Maybe this isn't the kind of pain that you feel from a relationship, which we'll get into, or even a death experience of a friend or something of that nature. But this is the pain of inexperience, the learning curves, the trying to put some personal growth along with your inexperience and learning and making lots of mistakes. And if you remember correctly, that part of being successful in your personal growth is learning to fail extremely fast. because that way you can get beyond the inexperienced part. How about the pain of incompetence? Have you ever noticed that we love to do the things that we feel extremely congruent about? When our behavior is incongruent, doesn't match up with things we're doing, we tend to stay away from that. So the pain of incompetence, we always do things we're real comfortable with. We never hardly extend ourselves into incompetence, but yet at the same time, it is a real pain that we have to go through. And so learning to embrace that a little bit will help you. And here's kind of a mental thing to say. I'm really incompetent at this. And I feel kind of strange going through it, but I'm willing to learn. And so I realize it may take time, but it's kind of self-taught messages you have to start saying to yourself internally until they become habits in your actions. All right. The pain of disappointment. Anybody listening to this or coming back and watching it ever felt disappointed about something? And by the way, that's the pain of disappointment is basically can last a long time or it can last a short time. The deeper the disappointment, the longer it takes to get through it. The shorter the disappointment, maybe the shorter time to get through it for personal growth. The pain of conflict. How many of y'all just love conflicts? None. Nobody likes it, right? Just keep in mind that that's a real part of life and that you're going to have conflicts as long as there's humans, as long as there's things that are obstacles and things that can get in our way, there's going to be conflicts, part of life. And I would say the thing about all these is keep in the back of your mind, you're not immune to any of these. At some point, you're going to go through one or multiple ones at the same time. There's just no escaping it. The life won't let you. The world is set in its absolutes. And these absolutes are going to be, as I said in the beginning, part of who you are. The pain of change. We love change. Let me tell you, the most uncomfortable thing in the world is to have to start making some changes, not only minor changes, but major changes, and they will cause pain if we've gotten ourselves to a point where personal growth has stopped and we have to make some major changes, whether that be something maybe in our health, has to do something with our relationships, has to do something with our jobs. These major changes can cause a lot of anxiety, but if we learn to embrace those in the sense that, again, I realize it's going to be heavy duty change. I realize I might get angry at some of these times during this. I realize this is going to be extremely uncomfortable. But you know what? I'll take it slow and easy and we'll figure out how to get through that pain of change. Okay. How about the pain of bad health? Let's face it. It's probably the number one thing that we all get worried about is, and as you get older, even younger today, but the pain of bad health, not feeling yourself, not taking care of yourself, and then also the pain of just not being healthy is a real difficult experience to go through. But again, the body's a remarkable thing. And if we are willing to step out of our comfort zone, that change zone, maybe we can take care of some of those things that go along with the pain of the bad health that we're going through. The pain of hard decisions. Let's procrastinate some, okay? This is tough because there's some hard decisions that have to be made in life. They're not easy to go through. It could be relationships, it could be financial, it could be job, it could be family stuff, it could be spending a lot of money on something, it could be taking a big risk. Hard decisions are, the point is, Hard decisions are part of life. How about the pain of financial loss? Wow, I think a lot of us might be experiencing some of that as I speak right now with the way things are going. You know, the inflation, the checkbook, pocketbook is going far, working 2 jobs, losing money on a retirement that's invested. I mean, these can cause some real stress. So the pain of financial loss, and then the pain of relationships. And these relationship losses can be death. It can be the actual walking away from people. It can be just the management of some relationships. These things are all part of our pain. And I also put the pain of not being number one, right? We're so competitive that we just don't ever want to be seen as not number one in what we do. Well, get over it. There's always somebody out there better than you, or several, or more. The way it goes. All right. And the pain of responsibility, the big one. The pain, the responsibility thing can be tied into just about everything we go through. Taking responsibility for things that we go through should be a part of your personal growth. It should be something you want to do. We're not being taught that today. Our education system is not teaching us to be responsible. It's probably teaching us to be irresponsible. And that is that we should rely on others. We should rely on things to be handed to us. We should not take responsibility for the little things. You know, the Bible says if we're not responsible for the little things, we can't be trusted with the big things. Bingo. Ask yourself every day, is this the right thing to do in this situation? Is this taking responsibility? And it's little things. You show me somebody takes responsibility for little things, and I know darn well the person takes responsibility for the big things. So keep that in mind. All right, so I said all these things to say this. Can discomfort, bad experiences, these kind of pains, can they be a catalyst for personal growth and development? How many times you heard this? How many times you ever heard a person say, you know, when I went through that, it was terrible. I hated it. I felt like I was in a black tunnel. Everything was a mess. But, you know, I'm glad I went through it because I learned a lot and I grew. My way of explaining bad experiences and the law of pain is to tell you, as long as we're humans walking on this earth, we're going to have bad experiences. We're going to have pain. And we're going to go through things that just feel like they don't have any end. And we're going to have to decide how we're going to embrace these things and either work through them or be stuck and never move forward, or go the opposite direction, and that is to get bitter, angry, lose who we are, lose ourselves, never grow, and waste our life away. I recommend, and I do this myself, and that is to, and I got a comment here, pain does grow, and I'll just show it. So pain does grow, does create growth. It absolutely does. And that's what I was just getting ready to talk about, is whether we want to believe it or not, the things we go through, if we learn to embrace them and we come up with ways to be responsible through those things that are driving us crazy, we can create a positive life stance. When we create a positive life stance, it doesn't mean we're not always struggling with the experiences we go through. And not everybody works through things as fast as maybe we want them to. And maybe things don't work out as fast as we want them to. Because, you know, like I said, some of the bad experiences we go through, the deeper they are, the harder they are to overcome and the longer they'll take. So kind of look at it as, if it's a small thing, it'll take a less time. If it's a big thing, it might take a little bit longer time. But at some point, we have to deal with this. So what I can control, there's that word control. And I guilty of this. I mean, oh my gosh. I catch myself always trying to manage a situation, right? So learn what you can control, and better yet, write down the things that you want to control, but you know you can't, but you think you can. So write those things down, all right? Uh, and reverse that process, because when we start letting go of that, we start having more peace, more comfort, and less stress, all right? And that gets rid of some of that pain. And so my biggie at the end of this today is to let you know that make good changes after learning from bad experiences. I wrote that down. It's in my journal. So I want to make good changes after learning from bad experiences. But that doesn't happen overnight. So why? Because we have to change our subconscious, and our subconscious needs help because it's the control mechanism that's interrupting our conscious thought all day long. And if we got things embedded in our subconscious that are running and controlling our lives, then we're going to have to form habits to change that stinking thinking, right, through the pain and getting rid of that. So I encourage you. There's a great book. I wished I had put it up here. I'll just tell you what it is and put a link it back when I go back and put this up on YouTube in the description. Switch on Your Brain. Dr. Carolyn Leaf writes a book about how we can learn to control our thoughts, our thinking, and how we can change our actual behaviors and how we think and how we function and how we go through things. It's one of the most fascinating, wonderful books I've ever read. I will post a link. I encourage you to go get the audio version. I encourage you to go get the book and go through all the chapters and steps. And so I just got another, let me put this up. Thank you. I don't know who you are. That's fine. Where do you start? You know what? It starts with recognition. First of all, identify what you feel when pain comes up, whether it be in those list of things I gave you, right? And I'll write these back in the description. Inexperience, incompetence, disappointment, conflict, change, things of those nature. It all starts with realization. So point one, write down on journal or piece of paper what things are driving you crazy, relationships, experiences, things you've been through, whatever that is. Find out what your pains are, and then start going through learning the process, which will only work for you. Write some processes, just slowly work yourself through that. And that means changing your thinking. It means changing your to create what I call a positive life stance. Now that's a broad word for figure out how to change to be thinking about being more positive. Yours truly is going through that because, like everybody else that's gone through the last 2 years with the pandemic and everything, we've all had to reinvent ourselves. It's scary. It's been hard. But the other choice is to just lay there and roll over. Not going to do that. So you have to change the thinking that no matter what happens in your life, no matter what you go through, I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to grow from this. And it's going to make me not only a better person, but it's going to allow me to help others that go through this so that they need the attention and support. Because you've been through something, you can help them. And that's what life's all about, right? We're not here to be individual narcissic people. We're here to reach out to our brethren, to our sisters, and because of things we've gone through, we can help them by just being a support. And to me, that's what the message from the Lord is. And that's what, and since I'm a Christian, I speak from a Christian angle. I apologize to any of you that don't see it that way. That's fine. It's you can do whatever you want. I'm just telling you, for me, that helps me through my experiences. So with that said, the law of pain. Have a good day. Go buy the book, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, John C. Maxwell. Read the book. Journal on the book. Sometimes osmosis just takes care of it too by a little bit of learning here and there. See you next Monday. Have a great day.